Secretary of State for Scotland, Alister Jack.
Mr. Speaker, today I will make an order under Section 35 of the Scotland Act 1998, preventing the Gender Recognition Reform Scotland Bill from proceeding to royal assent. This order will mean the presiding officer of the Scottish Parliament will not submit the bill for royal assent. This government believes, however, that transgender people deserve our respect, our support and our understanding. My decision is centred on the legislation's consequences for the operation of reserved matters, including equality legislation across Scotland, England and Wales. The Reform Bill was the subject of intense debate in the Scottish Parliament, and the Minister for Women and Equalities corresponded with and met with the Cabinet Secretary Shona Robertson to discuss the UK Government's concerns before the bill had reached its final stage. Mr. Speaker, I have not taken this decision lightly. The Government has looked closely at the potential impact of the bill, and I have considered all relevant policy and operational implications together with the Minister for Women and Equalities. And it is our assessment that the bill would have a serious adverse impact, among other things, on the operation of the Equality Act 2010. Those adverse effects include impacts on the operation of single-sex clubs, associations and schools, and protections such as equal pay. Claim that this is some kind of constitutional outrage. This is not about preventing the Scottish Parliament from legislating on devolved matters, but about ensuring that we do not have legal frameworks in one part of the United Kingdom which have adverse effects on reserved matters.
Now come to SNP spokesperson Dr Philippa Whitford.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Vetoing this legislation is an unprecedented attack on the Scottish Parliament, which passed the Gender Recognition Reform Bill 86 to 39, including MSPs from every single party. Gender recognition is a devolved policy area, and this does not change the 2010 Equality Act or give any additional rights to those with a certificate. It shortens and simplifies the process, and particularly ends the requirement for a psychological diagnosis of gender dysphoria. This is in keeping with the guidance from the World Health Organization and UN, which recommends change to a legal statutory process based on self-identification.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have written to the First Minister. I've suggested that we meet to resolve these issues. And it is the case that the Scottish Government's bill has adverse effects on those two pieces of Scottish legislation. You will see it in the Statement of Reasons, which has been produced by our legal advisers. And what is missing is sufficient protections and safeguards for women and children that are reflected in existing Westminster legislation. And that is why I have had to lay this order.
Independence. And in every devolution...
Section 35 of the Scotland Act, a procedure that has not been used in almost a quarter of a century of the existence of the Scottish Parliament. In my view, there are no grounds to challenge this legislation. It is within the competence of the Scottish Parliament. It doesn't affect the operation of the Equality Act, and it was passed by an overwhelming majority of the Scottish Parliament after very lengthy and very intense scrutiny by MSPs of all parties represented in the Parliament. So if there is a decision to challenge, then in my view it will be quite simply a political decision, and I think it will be using trans people, already one of the most vulnerable, stigmatised groups in our society, as a political weapon, and I think that will be unconscionable and indefensible and really quite disgraceful. There is a bigger issue of principle here, and I'll come on to Keir Starmer's comments in this context.